Imagine drifting above Earth in the silence of space, surrounded by stars so distant they feel like memories. You're alone, strapped into a capsule, miles from anyone who can help you. Then, from behind, you hear a whisper. In 1963, Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper was preparing for re-entry during his Faith 7 mission when he reported seeing a glowing green object approaching his capsule. According to Cooper, not only did he visually observe it, but ground radar also picked up the object. He calmly described it, detailed its movement, and watched as it hovered and then shot away. NASA, however, never officially acknowledged what he saw. Some brushed it off as space debris or a glitch, but Cooper was certain something was out there, watching. Fast forward to 1969, aboard Apollo 10. As the lunar module orbited the far side of the moon, out of communication with Earth, astronauts Tom Stafford and Gene Cernan picked up what they described as outer space-type music through their headsets. A high-pitched whistling sound filled the cabin for almost an hour. In NASA's declassified transcripts, the astronauts debated whether to even report it. "You hear that whistling sound?" one asked. "Sounds like outer space music." When the recordings were finally released decades later, NASA offered a technical explanation: radio interference between the module and command ship. But if it was so benign, why did the crew hesitate to mention it? Why did they sound so unsettled? This wasn't an isolated case. Over the years, astronauts and cosmonauts have recounted strange events they couldn't explain. On the Soviet side, cosmonauts aboard early space stations like Salyut and Mir reported hearing what sounded like knocking on the outside hull, knocking as if something, or someone, was trying to get in. Cosmonaut Vladimir Solovyov described it in chilling detail, saying it resembled someone tapping gently with a finger, but no source was ever found. He insisted the sound came from the outside. Could it have been thermal expansion? Micrometeorites? Perhaps, yet no physical damage was ever recorded. Then there's the case of the International Space Station, where astronauts spend months in orbit. Some crew members have reported feeling as though they were being watched, even when alone. One astronaut, who remained anonymous in interviews, described seeing a shadow move across the module wall when no one else was aboard that section and no external object could have caused it. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. NASA attributed it to light reflections, a trick of the eye. But astronauts are trained observers, selected for their mental sharpness. Would they really be so easily fooled?
Some scientists argue these events have rational causes. In space, sensory deprivation and long periods of isolation can play tricks on the mind. Cosmic radiation, which bombards the brain, has been known to cause hallucinations. Astronauts have even described seeing flashes of light behind closed eyes, believed to be charged particles zipping through their optic nerves. But do hallucinations knock? Do they play music in a vacuum? Apollo 11's Buzz Aldrin once claimed he saw a light out the window, following the spacecraft. He later clarified it might have been part of the Saturn V rocket's discarded panels, but his tone in the original interviews suggests he wasn't fully convinced. Neil Armstrong himself remained largely quiet about any anomalies, though insiders whispered that the first men on the moon might have seen more than they were allowed to say. According to some accounts, Armstrong reportedly spoke to Mission Control using a secret medical channel to describe large craft, observing them from the crater rim. NASA has denied these claims, and no official recordings exist, yet the rumor persists. Even in more recent times, strange things have continued. Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, during a mission aboard the ISS, shared how eerie it felt to see Earth from space, its beauty mixed with a quiet, haunting stillness. While she didn't report seeing apparitions or unexplained beings, she hinted in a blog post that not all experiences up there are easy to describe in words. Others have gone further. Chinese astronaut Yang Liwei, aboard the Shenzhou 5 in 2003, also reported hearing knocking from outside the capsule. He described it as neither coming from inside nor outside, but like someone was knocking on an iron bucket with a wooden hammer. Yang tried to locate the source, without success. Interestingly, other Chinese astronauts on later missions heard similar sounds. Engineers examined the capsules and found nothing. Could there be something in space that we're not meant to understand? A frequency we're not attuned to until we leave Earth behind? Maybe these are not ghosts in the traditional sense, but echoes, residual energies trapped in time, clinging to spacecraft like old souls to forgotten houses. Or perhaps the act of piercing the boundary between Earth and the cosmos opens a door we don't yet comprehend. There are even more speculative theories. Some suggest these sightings are not ghosts at all, but entities that exist in higher dimensions, visible only under the extreme conditions of space. Others believe they're evidence of extraterrestrial life not bound by material form. In the vacuum of space, where sound doesn't travel and light bends strangely, maybe our understanding of reality itself begins to falter.
There's also a spiritual aspect. Many astronauts, regardless of their beliefs on Earth, return from space deeply changed. They describe a sense of interconnectedness, of something larger watching, guiding. Some experience what's known as the overview effect, a sudden realization of Earth's fragility and the vastness of existence. For a few, that sensation tips into something almost mystical. They begin to believe that they've touched, however briefly, something beyond comprehension. Still, official agencies like NASA maintain a strictly scientific stance. They admit that space is psychologically challenging and physically punishing. They admit that light anomalies and sounds can be explained by physics, but they never say there are things we don't understand. Even when transcripts show hesitation, fear, confusion, those feelings are edited, reframed, sanitized. So what should we believe? Do astronauts really see ghosts in space? Or do they simply glimpse what's hidden behind the veil of reality filtered through the mind's effort to stay sane in an insane environment? We don't know. And maybe we're not supposed to. The next time you look up at the night sky, remember, above you, astronauts float in darkness. They stare into the void, and sometimes the void stares back. And when they come home, some never speak of what they saw. But maybe the silence says more than words ever could. What would you do if you were alone in space and something knocked? Would you open the hatch or pray it never knocks again?